Hello, hello. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well this evening. It is warming up. I'm digging this summer fishing. I'm ready. Let's go. I am so ready. I know everybody generally says, "Hey, the pleasure boaters and this is and the that's." That don't bother me one bit. Bring them on. Bring on the wakeboarders. Bring on the pleasure boaters. Bring on the jet skiers. I say, let's go. Because I know one of two things. Fish are going to be suspended and biting crankbaits, or they're going to be stacked up on brush piles, and I'm going to go catch them. It's my favorite time of year to fish, guys. I've said that before. I'll say it again. Summer is my favorite time to crappie fish. There's no doubt about it. It's just one of the best times of year. Fish stack up. They're not moving. They stay in one place. They're predictable. You don't have to go searching for them. They don't change day to day. It's just go do the same thing you did the week before because they're going to be there on that brush pile. They're going to be there in that creek channel. They're going to be on that flat. So I just love it. I absolutely love summer fishing. And I'm ready. All right. Don't forget, guys, when y'all get on tonight, drop me a hello. Let me know where you're from. Always like to see y'all's comments, be able to comment back. Excuse me. You have to bear with me tonight. I'm getting over a little something. And we're going to try to get through it. Pollen is off the leash. Heidi Clark. Hi, Matt. How are you, Laura and the boys? Doing well, Heidi. Thank you very much for asking. Eric Reeder. Good evening, Matt. The Wired fam. Hello. Nate Wood. Hey, Matt. What's going on? Rodney Hudson. Hi, Matt. Rock Hill, South Carolina. What's going on? Lynn Hall from Knoxville. What's going on, Lynn? Hello. We'll get through it tonight, I promise. All right, so a couple things we're going to talk about this evening. Again, summer fishing is absolutely my favorite time of year. There's just no doubt about it. It is my absolute favorite time to fish. Love fishing summer. And, like I said, for multiple reasons, because fish are predictable. You get that, the water warms up. As long as, it gets tough come probably in East Tennessee, it gets tough about August. August, when summer really sets in, and you're talking about real hot temperatures, high temperatures, then yeah, it does get a little tough in August. That's when we go to the live bait. We start live bait fishing. Slip floats and minnows in brush piles, just let it set and wait for them to bite. You know what I mean? So, but absolute favorite time of year because water warms up, fish get a little more finicky. They're feeding up after spawn. They're, the bait fish are starting to grow. They're getting a little larger, so they're starting to eat bigger baits. And just absolutely love being able to get out there and target these fish with a short sleeve shirt on. My gosh. We absolutely, as far as the crappie industry is concerned, a lot of the tournaments in the crappie world happen in the winter. They happen, they don't happen in the summer. Summer's your time off as far as your tournament fishing, stuff like that. So it's just really great to get out there in a short sleeve shirt, some shorts, spray some sunscreen all over me, and go fish. You know what I mean? It's kind of my downtime, if you will. But it's not my downtime for you guys because I'm going to be able to get some great content and get some great content put out for you guys. Jackie Jordan, hey, Matt, just got in. Long story, reach out. I will, Jackie. I'll holler at you. It might not be tonight, but I will holler at you. If I don't holler at you tonight, Jackie, I'll holler at you in the morning, okay? Paul Gwynn, hello from Chattanooga. What's going on, Paul? Hope you're doing well. Hope that boat's working out well for you, buddy. Ronald Dills, hey, Matt, from Asheboro, North Carolina. I hope you are doing well, my friend. Doing well, Ronald. Thank you. Thank you for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. So let's talk a little bit about crankbaits, okay? Let's talk about kind of what areas I target when I pull crankbaits. So when I'm looking to pull crankbaits, there's two areas I'm looking for. I'm looking for creek channels with natural structure, okay? I don't want a ton of brush piles. That's one thing you don't want when you're pulling crankbaits. You don't want to pull crankbaits over a ton of brush piles. Why is that? Well, you guys can probably answer that question. It's because you're pulling a bait with a bunch of treble hooks on it. You go dragging that thing through brush piles, you ain't getting them back. And crankbaits are kind of expensive. So I don't like pulling around a whole lot of heavy cover, okay? But I do love to pull crankbaits on natural structure, stumps, stick-ups, tree trunks, standing timber that's flooded. I don't want standing timber that's all like Texas standing timber where you got like 1,500 different limbs. No, 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 no. Standing timber for us is basically a tree trunk. Okay, it's just one single solitary trunk that's coming off the river channel or the creek channel from where they flooded the lake back years ago. Okay, so that kind of natural structure is kind of what I'm trying to look for. I'm targeting somewhere in that 20 to 30 foot of water. It won't scare me in the summer, though, especially early mornings, to fish in that 15 to 12 feet of water. If I'm in a creek channel and the fish are in that creek channel, or they've been, up shallow that night and the night before feeding or something of that nature. So, excuse me. But typically, most of all, Max, what's going on from Table Rock? Hello, hello. Most of my pulling crankbaits takes place in that 20 to 30 feet of water here in East Tennessee, okay? Now, with that said, I don't necessarily catch them that deep. A lot of times they'll be 6, 8, 10 foot down, but they'll be suspended in that, 20 to 30 foot depth range. Flats, I'm looking for flats. I'm looking for main lake flats, okay? When I say main lake, I mean main river flats, flats that are directly adjacent to the main river channel, okay? Or a very predominant creek channel, okay, guys? So, keep in mind these creeks that we have, if you will, in East Tennessee, some of our creeks are literally like lakes, okay? They're like a second lake. So like Piney River on Watts Bar. If anybody's ever been, when you cross into Piney River from the main channel on Watts Bar, it's like a whole different freaking lake back there, guys. I mean, you can fish in that one area for 3 days and never fish the same spot. You could fish in that area for 3 days and never fish the same cove. I mean, it's that big, okay? So keep in mind, those very large creeks that have a very predominant creek channel in them, that can be looked at kind of as a river channel as well, because those very predominant creek channels will transition fish as well. Those fish they'll come out of those creeks and out of those sloughs, out of those what am I looking for? Coves. Thank you. If they'll come out of those coves and they'll come to that creek channel, and they'll set up in that creek channel as well. So not necessarily, when I say river channel, I don't necessarily mean the main river channel that's 45 or 50 foot deep. A lot of times those creek channels, okay, those predominant ones can be a river channel as well. So I'm looking for a flat that's directly adjacent to that creek channel. All right. If you can find you a 15 to 25 foot flat, and you can find it where there's not a whole lot of contours, there's a little structure here and there, someplace you can find bait. Crappie are going to follow bait in the summer. They are going to be around bait. If you can find bait, normally you can find crappie in the summer, okay? So look for the bait, look for suspended fish, look for those balls of bait, and then those isolated schools of crappie. So you guys, if you don't know, the bait is going to show up on your graph it's kind of going to be like a I call it a ghost image, if you will. It's just it's just very tight, bright spot on your image, and you're not going to get a whole lot of separation in your bait. Your bait's just going to be like a kind of a little ghost looking ball on your down imaging or your side imaging. That's the bait fish. If you see kind of a wad of fish, but there's separation in there and you can kind of count individual fish in it, that's crappie, guys. That's not bait. Bait is going to be kind of a solid, just kind of mass, and you're going to see that on your screen. And then you're going to get those schools of crappie, because crappie school up in the summer. If you find crappie in a creek, especially on bait, suspended, and crankbait fish, if you will, what I call crankbait fish, If you find those crankbait fish, you're going to find, 5 here, 7 there, 3 here, 8 there, 12 here, 4 over there, 6 over here. You're going to find little pods of those fish that are grouped up, that are just kind of sitting there floating around and feeding. Okay. So you're not going to see, you will see those single individual fish too, but in the summer, you're going to see those little groups. I call them bachelor groups, if you will, but you're going to see those little groups of fish on your depth finder in amongst that bait. Okay. So that's kind of what you're looking for when you're looking on flats, because generally those fish will move up on those flats to feed. Early morning, you can catch a lot of fish on those flats, okay, when they're suspended. And then you're going to see those fish kind of migrate as the sun rises and the sun gets up. You're going to see those fish kind of migrate back to that creek channel or back to that river channel. And a lot of times they're going to migrate back to structure, okay? So I always tell everybody, I love to pull crankbaits. But if I'm catching fish and then all of a sudden they stop, and I stop catching fish, I'm going to brush. See you bye. We're going to pack the crankbait rods up. We're going to go find us a couple brush piles. And we're going to go back to catching fish, because those fish move throughout throughout the day. Okay. And they're going to move, like I said, they'll kind of in the evenings, they'll move up on the flats and they'll feed at night. And then, in the morning, they'll kind of sit there and they'll just feed a little bit in the morning. And then they just kind of make their way back down towards that creek channel. And then they'll find their structure and they'll sit there and wait and they'll just repeat, right? Rinse and repeat. So always remember that those fish are going to move throughout the day, especially when that sun comes up on a bluebird day. My uncle, Lord rest his soul. He used to always tell me, well, you can't catch crappie after 10 o'clock. After 10 o'clock, you may as well go home, because you ain't going to catch no crappie. Well, he was a big troller. He loved to troll. That's one of the things he loved to do. So he long line trolled all the time. That's what he loved to do. He'd long line troll. Every once in a while, he'd float and fly, but he loved to long line troll. So he'd go out there trolling. He'd catch fish till 10 o'clock. The fish would turn off, and he'd go home, because you can't catch crappie after 10 o'clock. Well, I proved him wrong on that. Before he passed, I told him, I said, you just got to go to brush, man. Just put the trolling rods down and go find yourself a brush pile. No, they can't catch no crappie. And just started to keep on. Because those fish move throughout the day, okay? So, yep, crappie stacked vertically. Guess where I learned that? I'd say it was right here. Heidi. Yep, that's right. Crappie stacked vertically. Tom A., what's going on from Pennsylvania? So remember, those fish are going to move throughout the day, and they're going to, you can move with them and continue to catch fish. All right. So what I would typically do, again, is, first thing in the morning, I'll pull crankbaits. If I want to fish in the afternoon from 10 to 2, I'm going to go to brush piles or docks. Docks are a great way to catch fish in the summer, because there's shade there. Dock's its own ecosystem. It's got microplanktons that are algae that are growing around the dock, which attracts bait fish, which attracts big fish, which, shade, cooler water. In the summer, there's just a lot of things going for docks. So docks are a great way to catch fish in the middle of the day. Okay. But I'll move from, like I said, pulling crankbaits in the morning to docks or brush. And then about 2 o'clock, I'll go back to pulling crankbaits. I'll start. So in the mornings, I want to start on the flats, adjacent to the creek channels. And you can find all this on Navionics, guys. You can go to your Navionics and you kind of look. You can go to your map on your unit over here and you just kind of look. And those contour lines, the further apart those contour lines are, the flatter the bottom is. The closer that the contour lines are together, the steeper the bottom is, okay? So find those areas that have very little contour lines, okay? And find those creek channels that they move in and out of. And that's where you want to pull crankbaits, okay? And then when that stops in the morning, go to your brush piles, go to your docks. Then so you want to start in the morning. Let me go back. So you want to start in the morning on the flats and kind of work your way back to the creek channel as the sun gets up with pulling your crankbaits. And then when that quits, like I said, go to brush, go to docks. Then in the evening, you want to start kind of close to that creek channel catch them coming up out of the creek channel or out of the river channel and kind of follow them up where they're going to feed. So you're following those fish all day long in the summer. And it's a pattern that it's always true. It's always true. Every summer they do the same thing because, they're not thinking about spawning. They're not looking for beds. They're not doing, they're literally just there surviving. Okay. They're just there living. And it's just the same routine over and over all summer long. Now, it changes a little here and there, with weather patterns and with, some small things that'll change. But for the most part, it ain't changing. It ain't changing until the fall bite. Till that water starts cooling back down, it ain't changing. From now until probably September through September, it ain't changing, guys. It ain't changing. Okay. You're going to be able to roll with a very consistent pattern. It's going to be hot. You're going to get thunderstorms. You're going to get this and you're going to get that. But it's going to be hot. It's not going to be 5 degrees next month. You know what I'm saying? There ain't going to be no big cold front come through. There may be a heat wave come through. Okay. But again, with your lake, who here has went to the lake and dove in the lake and you dive head first and the further down you go, the colder you get. They can get in those cooler temperatures. Okay. Now, some of you guys' lakes, those shallow water lakes, those dirty shallow water lakes like the Mississippi lakes and stuff like that, they might not be able to get out of the heat or the hot water on some lakes. So I don't want to say this covers all lakes, but here in East Tennessee, the further you go down in our lakes, the colder it gets. And that, once the thermocline sets up, thermocline generally sets up. Let's take Tellico Lake, for instance. Tellico Lake, the thermocline sets somewhere around 24 to 26 footish, somewhere in that range. Most of the time, it'll move around a little bit, but for the most part, it's in that 20-foot range, 24-ish foot range. You'll see that thermocline down there, and they're generally going to set right above that because everybody knows the thermocline is what? Underneath thermocline is dull, dead, nasty water. There ain't nothing down there to live in, okay? That's all you need to know. They ain't going to live in that. So they ain't going to be below that, okay? So, with that being said, they're going to sit right above that thermocline most of the time. And let's see, black sheep crappie fishing. What's up? Big kid, if I didn't say hello to you, hello. Oh, Brian. Very good question. Very good question. Hey, Matt, great show. If you were to design a crappie rod for throwing light jigs like your bonehead stump bug at offshore targets, what would it be like? Thanks. Ooh. That's very intriguing. Well, first of all, Brian, do you make rods? Because if you do, hey, holla at me. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it because I would love to help. No, I've got a very good idea of. I will say this: the 6.5-foot ACC crappie stick is pretty close. It's pretty close, but there are a couple things that I would like, and trust me, I've voiced my opinion. Okay, to ACC, and ACC is great about listening to their pro staff's opinion, and they're actually getting ready to come out with something really cool. I can't say, it's not my place to say what they're getting ready to come out with, but they are getting ready to come out with something really cool that I've asked for personally. So I'm excited about that. I can't wait till they do because I'm going to have every one of them in the boat. I'm going to replace my whole arsenal when they do. But let's see. Throwing light jigs. So I want a fast tip. That's key to me. I want a fast tip. I want backbone. I want to be able to swing a fish. Okay. But I don't want to sacrifice feel. Does that make sense for the backbone? Okay. So it's very important to have the backbone set right. The breaking point of the rod, if you will, set in the appropriate position, but not sacrifice the tip, fast tip, and sensitivity. It's very, very, very important for me because, again, Brian, when you're casting at those offshore targets, you're making that 30, 40-foot cast, sometimes further, and you've got a lot of line out. So you need a sensitive rod. Okay. You're not fishing 8 feet in front of you and 6 feet down with, no line out. I mean, you've got 40, 50 feet of line, and, you need a sensitive rod. So, I don't want to sacrifice sensitivity, but a good backbone and a fast tip. A good reel seat is very important. A comfortable reel seat. A Tennessee handle is, to me, a Tennessee handle is, in my opinion, the most comfortable handle you'll put in your hand. And it doesn't matter if it's a super grip or like a ACC super grip or a cork handle. It's just something that's uniform. Okay. One thing that is hard, especially, when you go out, especially tournament fishing, let me go to the tournament side of it. When you go out and you're tournament fishing and you catch 70, 80, 90, 100 fish a day, and you've got a reel seat that is not uniform across your hand, it wears on your hand. I'm telling you right now, it wears on my hand. My wrist will start hurting. My hand will start hurting. As a matter of fact, right here, if I can get it out, my rods are a mess. So right here's my tournament rod. Okay. This is a prototype. This is not something ACC is currently selling, but this is a prototype. It's a Tennessee handled super grip. That's a 6.5 footer. Okay. Love this rod. Love that grip because it's uniform. And a lot of times I can hold it here. Okay. So I can hold it right in front of the reel. And it's just, there's no undulation. There's nothing digging into my hand. It's solid. Absolutely love it. I can slide this reel down a little bit if I want to be more in the center of the handle, but I can hold it right there in front of the reel and it's level in my hand. Okay. So that's a big one for me. Stainless eyes, obviously, because I'm a braid guy now. So that's one thing I do like. And other than that, that's pretty much it. 6.5 is my length. Okay. That's kind of the length that I like. 6.5. I can do just about anything with 6.5. I can vertical jig if need be because we fish deeper here in East Tennessee. So if I get over top of fish that are 15, 18 feet deep, I can vertical jig with them. Brian's, it makes sense. 6.5, fast action, light or medium light. I like a medium light power with a little parabolic bend. Yep. Tennessee handle. Good idea. I've never used one. Very cool Tennessee grip on that ACC. Yeah, I absolutely love it. And, if you guys love a Tennessee handle, feel free to reach out to ACC. Send them a message. Tell them, come on with the Tennessee handle. Bring it out. Let's go. I want it. The more you guys tell them you want it, trust me, the more they're going to get antsy about it. They're going to be bringing that thing out. You know what I'm saying? So if you're interested in owning one of these, then send them a message. Let them know. They'll listen. Trust me, they will listen. They check those messages every day. You can message them on Facebook or you can go to their website. They've got a email link on there. You can message them that way. So, but yes, I do like a Tennessee handle. I always wondered if I would, and then I got one and I put it in my hand, and it's just so. That is actually my tournament rod. That one right there. That's the one I use the most in tournaments. Now, I will say this: their newest. I do not dislike any of their rods, but their new one-piece rods. Let's see if I can get this one piece out here. What a mess. My rods are a disaster. Nope, I can't get it. All right. We're not going to mess with those. They're all tangled up. So, the one-piece rod has a very, very nice handle on it as well, okay? So, if you're looking for something that fits your hand well, doesn't have any kind of dips or anything in it. Right now, the one-piece ACC has a great reel seat as well. Travis, let's see your crankbait rig. Yes, we are going. I'm going to show you guys a crankbait rig that I use. Before we get done tonight, I will show you that. We're going to go over some crankbaits because I got some crankbaits here. We're going to go over some of my favorite crankbaits, kind of what I use for crappie, and then I'll show you the rig. Okay, Travis? Do not let me forget. Joel Nash in the house. What's up, Joel? Derek Robinson. Hi, Matt. What a Tennessee handle grip. So a Tennessee handle is a solid one-piece handle, okay? It's basically, let me move these. So you can cut these off because you don't really need them. Some people actually will put their reel on there and will use the same thing that hockey players use on their hockey stick. You can put it around there. You can get it anywhere. It's like sport tape kind of stuff. And they put that around there. But a Tennessee handle is basically, try not to move my reel, just a solid one-piece handle. I mean, it's just a solid grip. Okay, nothing special, just a solid grip. There is no quote-unquote reel seat. The reel just goes right on the bottom of the handle, and then you've got these little plastic doohickeys, little plastic collars that slide on there and hold it. Or you can, like I said, you can use that sport tape and sport tape it. A lot of guys use the sport tape. So, but it's a little more solid in your hand. It's a little fatter, so it fits in your hand a little bit better. Your hand's not as tight all day long. It's just a little bit more comfortable on your hand is all. And the feel with it's great because it's a solid piece. So you get a lot of shock through it. And when it comes down the rod, there's nothing that's stealing any of that energy. There's no, there's no collars. There's no separation in piece to piece. It's just one solid piece. All right, let's talk crankbaits real quick. I'm gonna grab my crankbaits here. So I got a few of them. I just absolutely, well, I got some new ones actually. I found a sale at the Bass Pro. I don't normally buy a whole lot from Bass Pro Shop, to be honest with you guys. Not because I don't like their stuff. It's just I don't typically buy a whole lot from Bass Pro Shop. But I do buy flicker shads when they have flicker shads on sale. And they actually had a sale on flicker shads. And I picked up a bunch of new flicker shads. See if I can kind of show you guys some of the different colors in there. Some of my favorites. Let's show you guys some of my favorites. Natural colors. There's days where fish want to see that natural bait. They want to see that natural color, that shad color, that, the browns, the silvers, the grays, the whites. They kind of want to see that natural color. And then there's days where it just don't make sense. I mean, you throw some fire tiger, orange, green, and yellow thing down there, and they start wearing it out. So, it really does vary sometimes. The fish will want to see different baits at different times. Some of my absolute go-tos here in East Tennessee that's one of them. That's a flicker shad. That's a pink fire tiger flicker shad. Okay. You guys can. These are number 5s. Let me check that. Yeah, these are number 5s. All my flicker shads are number 5s. That's all I run in the flicker shads, a size 5. Okay. So pink tiger, if you will. Obviously, the fire tiger, like I was talking about, is a great color. That's a go-to. The straight up, just, come on. Mm-hmm. Straight up shad, okay? Black back, silver body, silver belly. It just doesn't get much better than that. Those days where those fish are just wanting a natural shad color, I mean, it doesn't get a whole lot better than that. And then one more that I'll show you, and I probably shouldn't show you guys this, is the purple tiger. So That's purple tiger right there. And that thing right there will absolutely catch the crappie. There ain't no doubt about that. Absolutely catch it. So that's probably the pink tiger and the purple tiger are probably my straight go-tos. And then, of course, there's another one in here that's called like Fandango. I think it's this one right here. I think it's that one right there. That's a good one as well. Chartreuse and white. I mean, I could go on all day, but those are my go-tos. Let's move down to the next box. All right. Arkies. Arky 220s, okay? These are the small Arky. And I've got 3 boxes full of these. These are a very, very great, good bait. They come out of the box with great hooks on them. That's one thing that sometimes bothered me about bandits, okay? That's one of my go-tos. Kind of a natural color crawl with a little orange belly. Something that bothered me about bandits sometimes is you get them out of the pack, and the hooks just weren't all that sharp. I like a good sharp hook out of the box. So, you know, Arky, I hadn't had any issues with hooks out of the box. They've been great. The 220, I think it's the 220 and the 330, or maybe it's the 320. Anyway, 320 is the bigger one. The 220 is the small one. I like the 220 mostly. That's mostly what I run. I do have some of the larger ones, but I don't run them very often. I like a good small bait. It's a reaction strike. All right, guys. So there's chartreuse with a purple back. Arky has got probably 40 different colors. I mean, they've got colors out the wazoo. This splatterback is a good one. Okay, that's a black and white, a little yellow belly on it. It's called splatterback. It's a good color. This one right here. As far as the Arkies are concerned, there's 2 baits that are my absolute go-tos. 2 colors. One of them is that one right there. Red and chartreuse. Okay, bleeding red hooks. Red and chartreuse. That's a 220. Love it. Absolutely love it. That's one of my go-tos. And then my other go-to is probably in the other box. Let's see here. Yeah. All right here it is. This is my other go-to right here. Look at that little joker. Little blue top, little yellow stripe there on the side. Yeah, little orange on the bottom. Just kind of a natural color. Again, you know, it's got a little bit of color to it, and it's got a lot of shimmer to it too. I don't know if you guys can see. I don't know if you guys, well, you can kind of see it up there on the blue a little bit. It's got some shimmer to it. It's got like a metal flake in it that you can't really see very well on the camera, I don't think. Or you guys might be able to. I can't on my phone, but you guys might be able to see it. It's got some shimmer to it, so it's got a lot of glisten and great rattles. If you guys can see that. That would have been funny if I would have hooked myself in the lip. That would have been bad. All right. So those are my go-tos. And then, of course, you got these 2 guys that, you know, every angler should have this in their boat. That's black and silver. Okay. Black and silver right there, and blue and silver. You should always have blue and silver and black and silver. I don't care where you're at. If you've got shad in your lake, or you've got any kind of bait fish in your lake, that blue and silver and black and silver, you should have them in your box. Okay. And they've got some really funky colors too, guys. And they work. I mean, some of these colors, that joker right there, it's orange and chartreuse. It's kind of a funky color. Here's one. This is kind of a bluegill color. That's a good one. Here's one of my absolute favorites. When they're hitting natural colors, that little joker right there cannot be beat. That's a good one. Okay. A little brown and white, just a real natural type color. And like I said, they've got 40 something different colors. I mean, it's crazy how many different colors they have. That one right there. I mean, and I've used them all. I've caught fish on most all of them. It's just kind of a straight white, a little green on the back. I mean, just great baits, okay? And they're relatively inexpensive. There's not a whole lot of heartache when you break one of those off. The 220s run you somewhere around, unless they've went up. I hadn't bought any 220s in a while. As you can see, I have a lot, so I hadn't bought any in probably a year and a half ish. But I think they were about $3 a crankbait, something like that. If last I remember, $2.70 or something a crankbait. So they're relatively inexpensive. Not going to break the bank. You can afford to go buy 10 or 12 of them. And, if you lose them, you don't have to, sit down on the boat, take a deep breath and cry a little bit. You didn't lose a $9 crankbait. So they're not bad. And I like I said, I don't too much mind losing them when I do. What am I looking at here? All right. Well, let's get into some of the bandits and some of the bigger crankbaits. These are probably the ones I don't use the most. If you're going to fish on Douglas, you better have this color. Okay, you better have a red crawl. If you're going to go to Douglas and fish, that's a Bandit 300 right there. You can see how much bigger that is. I got an Arky right here. So you can see how much bigger that Bandit is than that Arky. Let me try to hold them side by side here. Can I hold them bill to bill? Yeah. So you can see how much bigger that 330 or that 300, that Bandit is than that Arky 220. That Arky 220 is a lot smaller. Okay. So, better have that if you go to Douglas. And then, of course, you got all the different colors. Here's Bandits. I'm sorry. That's a Bandit. That's blue and silver. That's an Arky 330 right there. So that's the larger size Arky in the black and silver. Let me compare those for you. 220 to 330. Arky to Arky. So that's their small size and their large size. They're together. Still, the Arky 330 is smaller than a Bandit 300. A little bit smaller, but it's quite a bit bigger than the 220. You guys have probably seen people using these. There's your pinks, your pink and blacks. Okay. Black and chartreuse and straight black. Okay. Black and chartreuse, straight black. I don't catch a whole lot on straight black crankbaits. Stuff that's really, really dark, that barely has a little chartreuse on the tail. I don't catch a whole lot on those, but you need them, okay? Because there's days when you will catch fish on them, and that will be the only thing that they'll hit. So there's that splatterback, that same splatterback in a 330, okay? And I've got a lot of the same colors in, my larger crankbaits that I have in my smaller crankbaits. There's the Fire Tigers. Okay. Once you find colors that work for you, get some different sizes too, okay? Because sometimes the fish will want that larger crankbait. Sometimes they want that smaller crankbait. Sometimes they want to see the wobble of that flicker shad, and sometimes every crankbait is going to wobble different. Each one is going to have its own unique kind of wobble or pattern, if you will, wiggle, if you will. Okay, so each one is going to have its own it's going to have its own motion of the ocean. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good one too when they're hitting kind of natural colors, kind of a crawfish color with a little chartreuse on the bottom. That's an Arky 220. Arky's got a great color selection. I mean, their color selection is better than anybody's, in my opinion. So, and you can get them at their website, arky.com. Oh, good question, Rodney. Do you pull or push the crankbaits? I pull, okay, but I set up like I'm pushing, kind of. So it's kind of strange. We're gonna go over that here in just a minute. I'll show you guys how I set up. But I kind of set up like I'm pushing, but I pull. Okay. Randy, hey Matt, I have changed most of my crankbait hooks to red hooks. Looks like you may have done that on some of yours also. Any thoughts? So actually, I did not change these. A lot of your Arkies, okay, that's an Arky 220, come with a bleeding hook. Okay, they come with red hooks. So a lot of your Arkies come with a red hook. Here's the three. That's the 330 Arky. Okay, red hooks. Most of your Arkies come with a red hook. Here's another Arky with red hooks. Okay, and those are straight from Arky. So, and it tells you, you know, what color the hooks are. Some of their red crankbaits and some of their other colors will, some of their natural colors will have just a straight bronze hook on them, like this one right here. So that's your kind of natural crawl. That one has regular bronze hooks on it. But for the most part, a lot of their baits have the red bleeding hooks. So I haven't changed any of them because that's the one thing I can't stand to do is sit there with little player pliers and change. I can't stand it. More power to you, Randy. You're a better man than I am, my friend, because I just can't stand changing the hooks. It just drives me nuts. But, yeah. Here we go. Charles, you were getting ready. You ran off on me, Charles. Let's see. What's that right there? Oh, what Charles asking about? I had one in my hand, Charles. That's the next thing we're going to talk about. Do you use a snap or tie directly to the O-ring? So that's a big question that I get a lot. Do you use a snap swivel like this one right here? Okay. Do you use a snap swivel like that right there? Or do you tie directly to the O-ring? All right. So do I have snap swivels in my box? Well, obviously I do because I got one in my hand. So, yes, I have snap swivels in my box. And I'm not going to tell you I don't use them because look right here. There's one tied on that crankbait. Okay? Right there. But also, if you look at... If you look at this crankbait right here, come out of there. Come out of there, Mufasa. All right, you look at that crankbait right there. She was tied directly to the O-ring. Okay? So, sometimes yes, sometimes no. do I think that makes a difference? I don't. If I know what colors, let's say I go to Telco this weekend and I'm going to pull crankbaits. I'm probably going to tie directly to my O-ring because I pretty much know what I'm going to catch them on Telco. You know, I may change a bait or two here and there, you know, just to try new colors. But I pretty much for the most part know what I'm going to use. If I'm going someplace new and I don't necessarily know what they're going to be biting, then yes, I will tie on a snap swivel. That way I can change baits out a lot quicker. I can pull one out. I can pop the swivel. I can throw the new bait on it, and I can put it back in the water, and I'm back fishing. So, you know, to save time is the reason I use them, not necessarily to, you know, there's this big thing. Does a swivel keep the crankbait running true because it allows it to do its wobble and it doesn't kind of bind it, if you will? But I mean, a good crankbait is going to run true anyway, whether you tie directly to the O-ring or put a snap on it. I mean, it really, they're going to run true if they're going to run true, and if they're not, they're not. It doesn't matter what you put on them. You know what I mean? So that is my rundown of snap versus O-ring. Okay, I know it's very technical. It's very technical. Howdy, Matt. Scents on crankbaits help hurt. Indifferent, 100% indifferent. I don't believe in scent. You know, that's one thing that if you guys hadn't watched that video that I did on scents, it's a video of Copper Tone Sunblock Mountain Dew and I know, right? And the crappie nibbles. And just, you know, hey, do they work? I'm not a big believer in it, okay? I've sprayed WD-40, gasoline, Mountain Dew, Copper Tone Sunblock. I put everything in the world on a jig, and it don't seem to affect them. from what I can tell. So I'm going to say scents aren't a big deal for me. Now, is it going to hurt? No. I can tell you that right now. Is a scent going to hurt you? No, it's not going to hurt. But I don't believe it's going to do a lot of helping either. I mean, if a fish is actively feeding, it's going to actively feed. You put a bait or a crankbait in front of a fish that wants to feed, it's going to feed. Okay. Hello, all the way from Indianapolis, Indiana. What's going on, Albert? Glad you're here, buddy. Do you tune your crankbaits often? That's a very good question, too. Mike, I will try to tune some crankbaits if need be. That is one thing I will say again about the Arky and the Flicker Shad. The Flicker Shad and the Arky, I haven't had many that don't run, man. I really haven't. I've been very fortunate with those crankbaits. And that's a lot of the reason that I still continue to use them, because they do run fairly true. I mean, straight out of the box, they run true. And, I have had one or two that did not run true. And to be honest with you, I did tune on one of them and get one of them running pretty decent. But if I get one out of the box and it don't run true at $2.25 or whatever those are going for right now, I typically don't waste a whole lot of time on them. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather spend my time fishing than tuning. But yes, I have tuned crankbaits before, and it's really, it can be kind of a fun pastime. I don't really have any place at the house that I can run them and tune them and get them, so I always hate to kind of do it on the water. But taking the bill and manipulating the wire on the bill and trying to get it running true it can be fun too. I just haven't done a whole lot of it. I mean, I can and I have, but I just don't typically spend time on it. You know what I mean? William C., good evening, good evening. What's going on? All right, so let me show you guys kind of how I run my crankbaits. I actually do not have what I need to do that, so I'm going to jump down here and grab what I need. I think I left them down here on the floor, so let me jump down here and grab one more thing that I need. I don't think it's up there in the front. I've got my whole boat tore apart because it got soaked the other day, and I had to put it back together. Let me grab what I need. I'll be right back. Hey, I'm back. I knocked the phone over, but I'm back. All right, so how do I run my crankbaits? Well, it's pretty easy. Now, I've told you guys multiple times that I run a loop knot. That is not the case when I'm running crankbaits, okay? I do not run a loop knot. I run a fisherman's knot or a clinch knot, whichever one you want to call it, okay? And that's what I run. But this is the most important part of my crankbait fishing, all right? This right here is a 2-ounce inline weight with a swivel, okay? It's got a swivel on top, okay? A little swivel right there, 2-ounce inline weight. This is very, 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 very important, okay? Very, very, very important. So, with that being said, how do I rig this up? Okay? So the way I rig my crankbait up is the swivel, obviously the fat end of this, okay? It's a little cylinder. The fat end points up. Main line gets tied to the swivel. So main line goes up this way, okay? Then I put my leader, I put about a 3-foot leader, okay? About 3 foot of line from the bottom of this. Now, I'm not going to do 3 foot right now because I want to hold it up and show it to you guys, and I can't do that with 3 feet of line, or you're going to be holding it back here like this. All right, so about 3 feet of line. Leader goes right here. Now, the next question I'm going to get asked is, what size line do you use? Typically 6-pound test is what I run, okay? Some guys say, oh, you got to run 10, you got to run this, you got to run that. Well, I run 6. All right. That's just what I run because, hey, I get away with it. I don't need the heavy line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Right through there. Come around. Right back through the loop you just created. Yeah. Some people call this a beehive knot. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Tighten it down. Okay. Right there like that. If you guys can see it or not. But there it is. All right. So now I got my leader. Okay. Very simple. Main line, here up. Inline weight, 2 ounce. That's a 2 ounce inline weight. Right there it is, number 2. And then my leader. So at the end of my leader, I tie my crankbait, right? Now, we're going to go directly to the crankbait. Okay. I'm going to tie this down here so the 2 ounce weight's laying in my lap. All right. Same knot. Slow fisherman's knot, beehive knot, clinch knot, whatever you want to call it. Whoops. I dropped it. All right. So there you have it. Okay. So main line here to the inline weight with the swivel and crankbait behind it. Okay. Now, why do I run a 2 ounce inline weight? Well, it's easy. It's very simple because this 2 ounce weight allows me to set my depth. Okay. So when you're crankbait fishing, a lot of guys get confused with line out versus depth and bill, you're running a 220 and it will only dive X amount of feet and I need to be at X. Nah. No. That's the hardest part of crankbait fishing is learning that friggin' chart. Forget that chart. All right. Put you a 2 ounce inline weight on there, 3 foot leader. Drop that 2 ounce weight down. If you're running, I'll run, and a lot of guys will run like 2 mile an hour, 2.25 mile an hour to try to get that crankbait deep. Because the more line you let out, the faster you run, the excuse me, deeper the crankbait runs. Well, I don't have to do that. All I got to do is let out more line because this 2 ounce weight is going to set my depth, and then my crankbait's going to run back here behind that 2 ounce weight. Okay, so I got my 2 ounce weight back here, and then crankbait's just digging right down below it. Okay, so 2/3 of when I run, my speed is somewhere between 1.2 and 1.5. I'm running 1.2 to 1.5 mile an hour all the time. And it does that does 2 things for me. First of all, it saves my trolling motor battery because I don't have to run 2 mile an hour and I'm running on 5 or 6 where I would have to run on 8 or 9 to run 2 or more, 2 or over. Okay. So it's saving my trolling motor battery so I can fish longer and I'm a lot more consistent with my depth. Okay. It also allows me to turn on a dime. Okay. If I'm pulling these behind the boat, okay. Now, about 2/3 of my depth, because the crankbait is, and this weight and this crankbait are going to, if I let the bait down 12 feet in the water, it is going to come up a little bit because there's drag on this crankbait and this weight when I'm dragging them through the lake. So you got water drag on them, which is going to raise them up a little bit. But generally 2/3 of your depth is what you're running. So if I'm drop my line 12 feet, I'm probably running 8 feet deep. Okay. If I drop it 15 feet, then I'm somewhere in that 10-foot range, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, that's not perfect science, but it's pretty dang close. All right. Pretty dang close. So I'm a lot more consistent with my depth and I can turn on a dime. So say I'm dragging this through the water. Okay. It's on the passenger side of the boat, and I turn towards the passenger side. All of a sudden, what happens? Yep, doink. This thing will turn and set straight up and down because I have weight on it. That crankbait may sit up here for a minute, like this right here, and I'm turning around. And then when I get my boat turned around, this catches back up. Ouch. The lines catch back up. This weight turns, and the crankbait starts pulling in. Okay? So I can literally turn my boat around 360 degrees like this right here, and I can just keep going. I don't have to worry about lines 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 feet out the back of the boat. Nah. Nope. Negative. And a lot of times, like I said, you're fishing deep in the summer, so you're not spooking fish with the boat when you go over them, because those fish are down there 15, 18, 20 foot deep, and you're pulling this crankbait by them, and they see that crankbait, and they hear that come through there, and they go, yep, I'm going to eat that, and you're ripping lips, all right? So that's the way I pull my crankbaits. That's the setup that I use. And, I bought those 2-ounce end lines. I believe I bought them off eBay years ago. I think I bought like 30 off eBay for pennies on the dollar. And I still have a whole box full. So, typically, one thing I will do sometimes is I will run an 8-pound main line and a 6-pound leader. So if I do break off, I break my leader and not my main line. I'll typically save my weight and the crankbait, she be gone. But I like to try to save the weight if I can. Andy, sense work if you're using, oh, come on, to keep bugs away while fishing. So I have been told, but make sure your wife knows about it before you come home with that on. Yeah, that's a pretty good one, Andy. I had to give you that. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm not wearing that, buddy, because I come home smelling like that, and it's going to be a bad day around my house. It don't matter if I tell her about it or not. It's going to be a bad day. So more power to you if you want to try that for bugs. But I'll tell you right now, I'd rather be eat up by mosquitoes than put that on, because I'm not trying to explain that one. There ain't no way. That's funny. All right, Jeremy, hello all from Ohio. Lake Erie Gator Bite is on fire with cranks. Crappie are full on spawn mode right now too. Man, well, our spawn's pretty much over down here. There are still some fish that have eggs, and there are still some stragglers moving around that are thinking about spawning, but it's pretty much, the peak is pretty much done. So congratulations to you guys that, up north, you're just now getting it, because, you guys still had ice like forever ago, or just a little while ago. You still had lakes that had ice on them, I guess, right? Actually, I'm not to spoil anything for you guys, but I am heading north probably this weekend. And I've been waiting until all the snow and ice left so that I could go that way. But I'm probably heading up that way. You guys will probably see why here this weekend or next week or maybe the week after. It depends on how quickly I get video edited. But, you guys will probably see that while I'm heading that way here next week or two. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've been searching for this for a little bit, and finally came across it. So we're going to go up there probably this weekend, and it'll be a fun trip. So I'm looking forward to that. Do you run planer boards with the 2-ounce jigs or 2-ounce weights? You can, yes. Now, my standard crappie planer board, okay, that I make is not going to hold that 2-ounce weight up. I'll go ahead and tell you that. That 2-ounce weight and that crankbait, the amount of drag that you get off those. Now, you could probably run an Arky or flicker shad. You could probably run an Arky or flicker shad with those, but I don't know that you'd be able to run a 330 or a Bandit or something like that, because those are gonna wear on that board pretty hard. Just the amount of drag that is on those baits. So yes, you can absolutely run planer boards, but you need a good sized board, like a church tackle board or something that has got some width to it, okay, or length to it, if you will. That'll hold that much weight. All right, guys, we've been on almost an hour. I wasn't planning on being on that long, but hey, you guys kept asking questions, and we kept answering them. So we're going to call it for this evening. I appreciate you guys as always. Thank you for supporting the channel. Don't forget, check out wiredforcrappie.com. Some merch on there, some videos on there, and just some really cool stuff on there. It's a cool website. If you hadn't seen it, check it out. I'm pretty proud of my website. I kind of like it. I don't know why, but kind of like it. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. And as always, God bless. I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys are enjoying. We got some little shorts that are coming out here and there. Hope you guys are enjoying the shorts. That's the new thing, I guess, now. It's like the TikTok trend and all that. You know, now YouTube and everybody else is doing these shorts, you know, kind of like TikToks, I guess. But hope you guys are enjoying those. They're short. I mean, I don't know. I always watch them, and I'm like, man, where's the rest of it? I want to see the rest of it. So that's kind of me. I'm just like, why give me that little bit, not all the rest of it? I want the rest of it. So, but that's just me. I'm sure some of you guys like flipping through the shorts. And I flip through the shorts all the time, but they aggravate me sometimes because I get into something, and I'm like, oh, man, that's what? Why did it stop? Go back. Did I miss it? Did it pause? What did it do? You know, and I'm like, oh, it ended. Crap. So, anyway, hope you're enjoying the shorts, and I do have a video that I'm about 3/4 edited, so that should be coming out. And then hopefully get some video this weekend that I can get out for you guys, and hopefully be on the lake next week again to be able to video for you guys. With this summer pattern and this good weather, I'm planning on fishing, and I'm planning on getting some content and getting some content out for you guys. So as always, God bless. Appreciate you guys. Same time next week. And if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please hit me up on Facebook, Wired for Crappie. The website has contact info on it. And you're very welcome, Rodney and Heidi. Yes. Have a blessed and safe week, everybody. And thank you, Rodney, for the thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. All right. Hope everybody has a good one. God bless again. Good night. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place, guys. Thanks.